So, you are currently employed but run a side gig or a part-time business that you're really passionate about. And business has been pretty good recently. And so you are questioning yourself, when should you quit this full-time job and actually focus on this business? Well, before you can actually jump into the deep end, I would like to intervene and bring to light some of the questions you should be asking yourself before you quit your full-time job. So in today's video, I'm looking at when is the best time for you to quit your job and focus on your business. I'm also going to share with you something that motivated me to quit my job in 2013 and focus on business full-time. But before we do that, I would like you to subscribe to my channel by clicking the subscribe button. It's over here. And also smash that bell icon so that you can be reminded whenever I have a YouTube video out. Now, let's get started. Hello there, entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs. Welcome to a fabulous episode of the Ndalama Insights Business Show with Mukonkela, where we turn your challenges into actionable insights. Now, are you in full-time employment but run a part-time business and are wondering when is the best time for you to quit that job so that you can focus your energies on this business? There are quite a number of people that have considered this question in the past. Here's a person who's in full-time. In fact, a few years ago, when I was doing the Ndalama Insights Business Show, the radio program, I received a query from a man who was in full-time employment and was running a business and then decided to resign from his job to focus on his business. Unfortunately, a few months down the line, his business wasn't doing well and he had to shut it down and had to start looking for a job again. Now, that is what you're trying to avoid here. You don't want to quit, then a few months down the line, start sending applications looking for another job. Because let's face it, as an employer, if I got an application from you, considering that you had actually ventured out into business, I'd be a little bit skeptical about employing you, knowing that, you are already on track to, running your own business. So I'd be a little bit skeptical to actually bring you on board as a team member because I know your attention would be divided. Okay? So how do you avoid, going back when you've decided to quit your job? What do you need to do before you quit that job? So before we go into discussing when the best time for you to resign and focus on your business is, I would like us to reflect and think about what causes people to actually reach the situation where they are faced with this question, whether when is the right time for me to resign? Well, one of the first things that comes to mind is obviously the business is doing pretty well compared to, maybe income from your employment. So you find that your business is making much more money than you're actually getting from your salary, or your business has got potential. From the little income you've made, you're actually able to assess that your business has got potential to make much more than the income that you're getting from your salary. And so this motivates you to want to focus on that business full time. The other reason could be, this feeling of wanting to be your own boss. You want to be independent. I want to make my own decisions. I want to be the boss lady. I want to be the CEO of this company. And so you are thinking of quitting and focusing on that business full time because you want to be your own boss and you want to be in charge of your business, to make decisions for yourself. And so that motivates you to want to quit your full-time job to focus on your business. The other reason is just excitement. You see, running a business, especially at the start, is really exciting. Being called an entrepreneur, going for entrepreneurship workshops, being called to, talk about how you succeeded in business, all that motivates you. That excitement motivates you to drop that job and start this business. So these are some of the reasons that motivates a lot of people to actually quit their jobs and focus on business full-time? There are excellent reasons. In fact, I think there are pretty good reasons. But I'm going to share with you the reason why I decided to quit very shortly. Now, before I share with you the reason why I decided to quit, I would like to bring you down to logic. You see, it's really exciting to be the boss. It's really good to be independent. But when you are deciding to quit your full-time job and focus on business, you have to answer a few questions. And I've got 3 questions for you that you need to consider. The first question, and probably the most important question that you need to ask yourself is, will the income from your business provide for you and your family sufficiently such that you will not look back and have to fill in applications to get back on the job market? So question number 1, will the income from my business exceed the income from my full-time job? Now, considering whether your income will be more from your business than from your employment is not just the only consideration you need to look at. You also need to factor in the fact that right now you've got 2 sources of income. You've got an income from your salary and an income from your business, your part-time business. So combined, your income is much more than if you quit your job. Okay, so when you decide to quit your job, you're actually going to lose out on 1 source of income. That's the salary from the job. And you're going to remain with 1 source of income, which is the income from your business. So when you're thinking about quitting, you need to think about, the repercussions on your family, on yourself in terms of providing for your needs. How will it affect you if you quit your job today, lost 1 source of income from your job? How will that affect your family dynamics in terms of paying rent for your family, in terms of paying school fees for your children, in terms of taking care of yourself? How will that affect you? So the question indirectly is the income from your business exceeding the income from your salary? And is it sufficient to take care of your needs? Okay, so when you look at this question carefully, and you are able to see that, yes, the income from my business is pretty well, and it's exceeding the income that I'm getting from my salary, then I think you have the right to actually consider, quitting your full-time job. However, I need you to take it a step further. Rather than just looking at whether my income, from this business is exceeding my income from my employment, you need to go a step further and look at the business plan. Now, so many times on this program, I've spoken about business planning. This is actually the best time for you to sit down and create a business plan for your business. You see, when you sit down and actually think about your business in terms of business planning, or actually, thinking through your business, what is the vision? Why does this business exist? Why am I doing this? Where do I want it to go? Who are my competitors? How much am I making right now? What is the cash flow? How much am I making right now? What is the potential cash flow? When you go through the process of business planning, it opens you up to areas that you might not have thought about, things that you might not have considered. And these may be things that could stop you from actually quitting your job. For example, through your planning, you might notice that you need a lot more machinery in order for this business to actually take off and be sustainable. And that might require you to remain in employment for a few more months or a few more years so that you can make that money to pump into the startup business. So when you start thinking by documenting your business plan, it gives you ideas of whether you're actually ready. It highlights areas in this business that justifies to you or gives you the warning to say, not now, because you don't have this sorted, you don't have that sorted. So continue, working and running this business part-time until you have got these areas sorted. That is when you're actually able to quit your full-time job and focus on this business. So business planning really essential for you to highlight areas that might actually help you to reconsider your decision to quit your full-time job. The third thing that you need to consider is your personal life, the balance between your life, and the business. Now, when you are in full-time employment, you do the work that you are assigned to do. You could be a finance manager, a marketing manager, you could be an operations director. You've got a fixed job profile that you do. And you've actually got, a list of responsibilities or a job description. And unless otherwise, we expect that job description to be fixed. Otherwise, if you are asked to carry out more work than is in the job description, you could demand for an extra income. So that is what the full-time job provides you with. It provides you with security. It provides you with assurance. You've got a monthly salary that is going to eat your bank account every month. There's always a notice on your phone. You get a beep to say 24th, ding, ding, balance up. I got paid. Now, when it comes to you being an employer or being a business owner, the roles actually, they don't even switch. You become everything in this business. You become the finance manager, you become the marketing manager, you become the operations manager, and you become everything in this company, including the cleaner and the coffee maker and everything in this company. So when you are running your own business, especially as a startup, when you're just starting out in business, you will need to, wear so many hats or carry out so many responsibilities such that you might not have that balance between your family and your business. And your relationship probably with your spouse, with your children, with your friends might be strained because they don't really get to see a lot more of you. Now, especially if you are employed right now, you've got so much time such that maybe you hang out with your friends over the weekend, or maybe you hang out with your wife or your husband. You've set a date night and all these nice fun things that, people are in love do. Maybe you hang out with your kids every weekend. You take them to, some fun fair or just for some adventures. When you start a business, especially when it's a startup, you might need to forgo some of these things. And this will affect the dynamics of your relationships with your family, with your friends, with your children. And so you need to consider, what are the repercussions of me starting this business on my relations? When you look at this, when you consider this, then you should ask yourself, am I ready to actually quit my job and focus on business? And how is that going to affect my relationships with all these people that I've mentioned? You see, or how do I balance the relationships with my business? So that's a big consideration that you need to take into account. There's definitely going to be a shift in the dynamics in terms of your relationships with whoever you are engaged with or involved with right now, your children, your husband, your wife, your friends, and so many others. So look at those dynamics as well. So when you've asked yourself these questions and actually considered, the positives, the negatives, you are then ready to actually answer the question, are you ready to quit your job today and focus on that business? It is very important for you to take into consideration these questions for you to avoid, or for you to give yourself a better chance of your business succeeding, so that, you don't go through that embarrassment of filling in job applications and calling, that somebody that you knew to hook you up to, that MD somewhere so that they can give you even anything. It doesn't have to be that senior position that you held. It can be even a lower position. I'm ready for that because right now I'm struggling. My business is not doing well. My children are not going to school, or they're not going to that private school that I took them to. So I need to get my job back because my business has failed. For you to avoid this dilemma, consider these questions before you quit your job today. Extremely important. Now, let me tell you what motivated me to quit my job way back in 2013. So I remember I was working for an international NGO as finance manager, and with a lot of potential for growth. But then in 2013, I actually sat down and You see, don't work with a guy. When you are in employment, don't look at your salary and the number of days in a month, because that is what I started looking at. So I took my salary and took the calculator and looked at the calendar, and I saw 30 days of June, and my salary was dash, dash, dash. And then I did the dash, dash, dash divide by 30 days, and it gave me a figure that made me stop and think. So then I was like, wow, is this how much I'm making every day with all the stresses that come with this job? Like, I have to submit management reports every month. I need to attend to this, I need to attend to that, I need to do that, I need to do that. I need to, sit through management committee meetings and all these nice, fabulous things that I enjoyed. But then, is the value, is my worth, is my time really worth this amount? Don't ever do that. Well, unless you want to quit your job like I did. So I did that. I took my net salary, divided it by the number of days. The figure that I got did not excite me at all. I felt I was more valuable than that. And from then on, I started thinking of my way out, because I realized, and this was after having worked for about 3 other jobs. I worked for a mining company. I worked for an audit firm. I started my career in a financial institution at a bank, and I worked there for 1 year. Unfortunately enough for me, I was in the operations department. And before things could get nasty, whereby I spent 25 years doing, some funny work before I could be promoted up, I literally ran out of that financial institution as quickly as I could. So I've always known my value and my worth. And so when I got to this point in 2013 where I computed my salary against the number of days that I was working, and it gave me this amount that really I felt like I wasn't appreciated, I never looked back from then on. I started plotting my way out, and I love to do finance training workshops. I love to work with small businesses because of my history and my upbringing, my entrepreneurship background, my experience with entrepreneurship. I naturally wanted to help SMEs. So it was really automatic for me to start a consultancy business focusing on small businesses, and it was a non-brainer. I looked at this small amount, the small income that I was getting, my salary divided by the number of days that gave me this small amount. I said, I can make this amount in an hour, maybe even in seconds. So why am I struggling? I don't think I would, well, to cut the story short, that is what really motivated me to quit my job. So unfortunately, I did not look at all these factors that I've disclosed to you in today's video. In hindsight, or if I had looked back, I would probably not have quit my job, because I would have been a little bit more rational, because I did not test my business concept. I simply ventured out I jumped into the deep end, and so many times I've had to swim from that deep end and to literally survive. And so I am not telling you right now to, do what I did, but if you've got the courage, you've got the strength, you've got the backbone, well, I don't see why you shouldn't. But if you don't want to look back and start applying for jobs, consider what I've looked at in today's video. I did not look at these 3 questions. I never asked myself these 3 questions. But had I asked myself these 3 questions, I would have avoided a lot of headache. I would have avoided a lot of disappointments. I would have been much more successful pretty quickly than if, pretty quickly had I considered these questions. So what I'm trying to communicate to you right now is, it is a great idea for you to consider quitting your full-time job to focus on your business, but be wise, avoid the mistakes that I made. Consider whether your business, first of all, start that side gig, very good. When your income starts exceeding the income from your salary, it's a great indicator. Create a business plan, and finally consider what kind of balance you need to create with your family, with your friends, with your children, so that you stand a better chance of your business succeeding, and so that you don't have to push in another application ever again. Okay? Well, this is all I had to share with you in today's video. If you enjoyed today's video, remember to subscribe to my channel by clicking this icon over here. Yes, click this icon to subscribe to my channel, and also smash the bell icon, the like button, so that you can be reminded whenever I have a YouTube video out. Thank you so much for watching, and see you